Good morning and welcome to another money morning routine. Okay, so I was just looking at February, but first let me take you back to my expense trackers. So in my last money morning routine on Friday, I showed that I had to go to the other side of my checking account expense tracker. So that's where I am today. I only had one thing that happened. I had that Mercari. So I've been selling some unused, unwanted clothing and shoes on Mercari. I transferred part of my balance, not all of it, but most of it. I would say 95% of it, $700 into my checking account. So you can see Mercari is the transaction. It's under other income. So let's talk about very quickly other income, earned income. So earned income is your W-2 income, the money that you get from your job. So what falls under other income? So other income could be exactly this, selling things on Facebook Marketplace or on Mercari, where you're making some money from selling unused or used or unwanted clothing online. It could be a reimbursement from a friend. Maybe, you have a transaction for some tickets and that friend reimbursed you. The money that they're reimbursing you that you're putting back into your checking account would go under other income. Maybe you earn some money from babysitting or doing a side hustle. Okay, that's other income. So other income for me, $700. It's a deposit. It increased my checking account balance. Now, today I'm going to take this money and I'm going to be buying some clothing I need some more outdoor colder weather running clothing, and I'm going to be buying that today. So I'm hoping that transaction should clear by tomorrow, or at least show up so I can write that down. It won't be for the full 700. So what I'm going to do is whatever I don't spend on my clothing today, I'm going to put the rest in my vacation savings account. So I'm able to put money towards some things that I want for my running, as well as vacation from selling unused or unwanted or used clothing from around my house. So that was the only thing. The next thing, I had to make a decision. So you can see in January, if you go back to my budget, that I decided to go cashless for all of my variable spending except for food. And I showed in a previous morning routine video that I was tracking that spending here in the notes section of my Budget by Paycheck workbook. So I'm not closing out my budget until Friday. So technically I could spend some money in these categories. So I'm not totaling it out yet, but I'm keeping track of that variable spending that I went cashless for right here in the notes section. But I always save so much more for my savings challenges, just in general. And so I'm going back to my cash envelopes in February. I made that decision. The problem was when I did my February budget, I already had these highlighted all in green that I was going to do cashless. My cash envelope breakdown wasn't accurately reflecting what I needed to pull out for cash. So I had to make some changes to my February budget. Now you can't see it in the video very well, but this is all white out. Like I whited out all of this section and I wrote in now all of these I'm going to be doing back to my cash envelopes. So I'm going to be using the Valentine Day cash envelopes. So we're going to have food, fun, health and beauty, household, pets, and miscellaneous. So 6 cash envelopes. I'm still going to go cashless for my gas. I'm not going to have a spending tracker for that just because I feel like I have a pretty good grip on my gas spending. But my cash envelopes are made. But because I made this change on my budget itself, it means I have to now change that on my cash envelope breakdown. Now, your cash envelope breakdown in your Budget by Paycheck workbook just shows you what bill denominations you want to pull out to fill up your variable spending envelopes, because this is part of the cash envelope method. So for me, I like to start with the biggest bills and work my way to the left. I've done that because it's psychological. It's a lot harder to spend your bigger bills than it is to your smaller bills. I'm less likely to reach for, say, a $50 bill, and I'm more likely to maybe reach for some tens. And so I find that I spend less. I have more to save, more left over in my cash envelopes if I go from the biggest bill down to the smallest bill. So like I need $900 for food, so I'm going to pull out 9 $100 bills. And I worked my way down the list, working from big bill to smallest bill. Now, once that's done, I then fill out this handy dandy teller slip. This way I don't have to bring my entire workbook down with me to the bank. I just bring my handy dandy teller slip, and it's a part of a sticky note tab that I have. I'll make sure to put a link for this in the description of this video if you want some of these. But this is what I bring down to the bank. It just tells me how much cash I need to pull out for my envelopes. Now, to show the process very quickly, if we go back to January, and we go back to my expense tracker, you can see in the beginning of the month, envelopes, $1,000. That's me pulling out cash for my envelopes for my cash envelope breakdown like I just showed here. Here's what it looks like on my expense tracker. Now, there is a line through it that says don't count. I put a line through it and I say don't count. I do this because, yes, it affected my balance. It brought my checking account balance down, but I'm not actually tracking the spending of that cash that I'm pulling out on my checking account expense tracker. I'm tracking it over here on my cash expense tracker. So if I'm closing out my budget and I'm tracking this expense of me pulling out cash from my envelopes for $1,000, and I'm tracking the spending of that $1,000 over here on my cash expense tracker, I'm tracking it twice. So I just put a line through it that says don't count to remind myself, hey, Miko, don't count this in your transactions when you're closing out your budget. So that's simply because the way I track my spending, I have a separate expense tracker for checking account spending, a separate expense tracker for my cash spending. So now all I have to really do is fill out my envelopes, and I am fully ready for February. I already prepped my budget category breakdown, my monthly budget category breakdown page, where I'm getting a glimpse of not only where my money went, but how much money went to savings, investing. Did I hit my short-term goals? Am I on track to meet my long-term goals? All of that is done with this page. How much income did I do? How much debt did go? If I had debt, how much went to debt? All that is through here, and I'm ready. You can see I have that prep right here. The only thing I have to fill out right here is my monthly budget. Like I know for Dante, my monthly budget's $450. For food, it's $900. So I just need to go through and write down my monthly budget, which I grab from my January budget right here. This is where I get my monthly budget totals from. And then filling in the monthly spend, and the rest can be filled in when I'm ready to close out my budget on Friday. And that is my Monday morning routine.